Yes, Pete, what's going on? Today's topic is going to be a little bit different. It's very interesting, actually. I've been thinking about that for a while, but you know what? I'm just gonna let Godfrey take it away because he knows what he's gonna say. Let's go.
Guys, so today we're going to be discussing celibacy and whether we are hypersexualized at this point. I think me and Tony off camera a few times we've discussed this, like a lot of the stuff like recently. I don't know, Tony, have you seen Too Hot to Handle?
Yes.
Yeah. So like I was watching that and I was kind of like, I was thinking about how sexualized everything is. Like when you think about even like small things, do you know what I mean? Like where things are sexualized in places and where like we've become hypersexualized to the point whereby everything has a little bit of, like how can we get people? But this has been happening for years and years, right? This has always been the case along a long line of media and stuff like that. Like the Sun and all these newspapers, they had page 3, the whole page dedicated to trying to make or entice people and a generation of people to buy their newspapers because they knew, or they'll do various things to try to sell. And there's that whole old catchphrase used to say, sex sells, right? And I think me and you were discussing about celibacy and the discipline behind it, do you know what I mean? And how different things start to entice you away from that if you are trying to do that. Not saying it's the only way to live. You can do whatever you want, but it's quite interesting. Firstly, let's discuss, is celibacy something you practice or something that it should just kind of happen? Do you know what I mean? Like let me give you an example. What I mean by that is that when you wake up in the morning, you get into a routine of things. So whether it be that I'm going to eat oats every morning to keep it healthy or fruit and fiber, whatever you do, you're still going to eat something. Do you get what I'm saying? Still going to take some food or some sort of hydration or something, unless you're fasting. Innately as a human being, you do that. Do you think celibacy should be something inside of you? If you're going to do it, it should be more innate. So it should be something that you're just doing subconsciously, or should it be something that you're like, discipline, like man's not gonna go out here, not gonna do nothing, and that's your attitude? Or which way do you think it should be kind of done, or how do you think you can exercise it at least?
Celibacy is very difficult to do, so it should be practiced. I think personally it should be practiced. Not everyone can just wake up and say, not everyone can just wake up and say, I'm going to be celibate and actually stick to it, because there's been lots of times, like even I've said I'm going to be celibate, I broke with it. So it's one of them ones. You got to practice it. You got to be true to your words. When you say you're going to do it, you actually have to mean it, and you got to ask yourself, why are you doing it? For what reason are you doing it? I think guys need to practice celibacy, because obviously in the world that we live in, everything's sexualized. Like look at TikTok was so innocent. Now TikTok is not innocent, because you see girls shaking their bums and all of that stuff, and OnlyFans, and all the whole shebang. And I'm not saying that it's bad and all that stuff, but you can see, personally, I think for guys, we need to start practicing celibacy in order to gain power back and gain control over ourselves. Because I feel like women have the power. Like, fair enough, women have high sex drives and they can probably control. Like they feel what they feel. They feel like corny and all that stuff, but they can control. They can say no. But if a woman says yes, a guy's gonna do it, right? But men, we kind of need that self-control, and we need to practice it. And it's tough because, again, you see booty everywhere, you see bunda everywhere, you see girls shaking ass everywhere, you see different challenges, and it's very difficult for most guys, especially most guys that get people sliding in the DMs all the time. It's tough. It's tough because recently, I had to tell someone no. I had to tell someone, like, listen, I'm trying to focus. I can't be entertaining all of this. And the person like almost wasn't having it, I literally had to say, I'm doing this because I need to focus. I've got things I've got to achieve. And this is a distraction. I had to tell her this is a distraction. But even bar that, like she kept on pushing it. And this is the one thing that this is why I say like women have the power, because they know. Most guys in my situation or in that situation would have turned their head straight away because someone is giving it to them, So I think it needs to be practiced. It's something that you have to do repetitively. Like every day you win against that mindset of, oh, chat to girls or talk to a girl this certain way or flirt with this girl or go and link this girl. Every day it's like a constant battle. And the more you do it, the more you get used to it, the more it becomes a habit. And then the more it becomes a habit, the easier it is to just, not think about it and do it subconsciously. Because as a guy, it's difficult to do subconsciously, right?
No, you're right. You got a thing, especially if your DMs are popping, so you hear it here first. Tony's DMs popping. I didn't say it, he said it. Nah, it's crazy. We were talking about this actually. It's like sometimes you have to almost discipline yourself when you meet people. It's like to know what people's frequency and energies are. Do you know what I mean? Like sometimes you need to just know, like, okay, cool. This person just wants to have fun, and this is a quick 2 seconds in and out kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it depends. I think, do you know one of the key things now that I kind of like when we're discussing this offline, like about celibacy and taking time? Sometimes you gotta just take it easy, you know what I mean? Breathe, like breathe and just, do your thing and get your thing sorted out and patterned first before you start entertaining lots of different energies. And you should just be careful what energies, you're letting into your life. But my thing more so is, I would say celibacy is something that you almost have to, like you said, practice. But I also think it's something that you have to really be wanting to do, if that makes sense. So mentally, I think if you are going to actively be celibate, one of the things you have to do is know how to set boundaries. Because if you don't have boundaries with people, like it straight away, that's going to go out the window. But also on the flip side, I think it's one of those things as well. It almost has to start being subconscious, because you can get yourself out of trouble certain times, or you can entertain trouble. Like I like putting yourself into certain situations, not trouble like that, but like sometimes you put yourself in a position whereby you're entertaining someone and you know they like you, and you know what's happening there, and then before you know it, you're now doing higa haga.
Yeah.
And you gotta be careful of just getting yourself into that. If that's where you are in life, cool, do that. If you're trying to focus on something, I've always said, like, doing too much of that will always, anything in excess will always be a distraction. Everything needs to be managed, and you have to know, okay, cool, this is my threshold for this is my threshold for that. And especially when it comes to celibacy, I think the people that are actively sort of, doing it and successfully doing it, a lot of it comes down to the fact that they've decided that whatever purpose or thing that's driving them to do this is more important than instant gratification or the gratification that comes from a level of intimacy, depending on what you're doing it for. Because I think the main thing is obviously, like, for a lot of people, it's more about trying to get more intimate or allowing intimacy into their lives without necessarily having to get physical. Because that's what a lot of people think. Because some people, like, they go through life, they get addicted to porn or whatever it may be, and now they struggle with intimacy and they have intimacy issues. So when they have sex, that's no longer a connection for them.
Yeah.
So they just see sex as an action and as something that's disconnected from emotion. So that's what I start to see. But that's actually moving to that as well. Do you think if you are doing higa haga out in the streets, just doing everything that works, do you think you lose a level of or ability to be intimate with someone?
If you're someone who's addicted to sex, then yeah, to a certain level you do, because it doesn't become special anymore. You do it so much, it becomes special. It becomes like you've done it so much, it's so easy. You move from one person to the other, and it's almost like you're not getting anything different, or maybe you've had so much experience that it's just like okay, this I could get this from this person, I could get this from that person. And then when someone comes in to be intimate with you and you get that same experience, it's just like, okay, cool. I don't feel anything but that with that person had. So I don't want to chase a relationship with this person, or I don't want to the other day, just sex with that person. So yeah, doing Higgy Hagar, it's not good. And the thing again is like you're making yourself accessible to everyone. You know, it doesn't make you a person that's accessible to everyone it's not special like that. You know, there's this saying, or there's something I read today that you can't build a city with someone who is chasing the village or something like that. So it's like the Higgy Hagar is not right. You have to have a certain level of control, and most people don't even have the control. And so this is why celibacy is you gotta ask yourself, and you gotta actually intentionally do it. You gotta say, why am I doing this? What am I going to achieve from this? Okay, self-control, and also you got to look at the energy as well, like you said, the energy as well. Sexual energy is very strong, and someone was telling me, I was actually reading something. Instead of using the sexual energy for like just sleeping around people, use it to create, use it to do something, because that's a very intense energy, right? When you feel like if you're someone with a high sexual, when you feel like you actually want to go out and do Viagra and beat loads of things, use that energy, put it into something creative. Because again, that sexual energy is a creation energy. You use it to create. Initially, sex was meant for creating kids, multiplying, be fruitful and multiply, but people are just using it to have fun. But sexual energy is meant for creation. Honestly, well. But yeah, Higgy Hagar and just soul ties everywhere is not. It's not right. It definitely removes the intimacy for sure.
No, that's super dope. That insight is insightful, and that insight's insightful, but it's very telling. But I kind of want to derail you a little bit here. Is it okay to have fun? Is it okay to have your phase where you're out here? Is it something that we don't judge here? Is it okay to have that stage in your life when you're outside? All kids like to play outside at some point, right?
Well, I'm not gonna say it's good or bad, because everybody goes through that phase anyways. Something causes you to go through that phase, either a breakup or either you just want to take advantage of the fact that you might be good looking and all these girls are onto you. So everyone goes through that phase. Again, like I can't judge anyone for doing that. I can't even say it's good or bad, to be honest. But all I can say is be careful in it, because you might just slip into the wrong girl and she might get pregnant, and that's you done. You know what I'm saying? So having fun, I don't know. Like you said, having fun is good, but anything in an excessive manner is not. It's not too much of a good thing is bad. Sure. So that's that's my take on it. What do you think?
Okay. Do you know what is everyone has their phases in life, like different people, different horses, different courses, right? So for me, some people don't really go through that as a phase. Some people, I got friends or people that I know that kind of got into one relationship and that was them. They're done. Do you know what I mean? I never really, ever entertained that kind of lifestyle. But I think everyone's different. Like everyone's journey is different. So for me, the main thing is not to judge someone on their journey, because that's their journey. That's just their life. You know what I mean? I always joke about it's like, one film's a horror film, one film's a love story, one film is a romantic comedy.
Exactly.
Everything. So our lives and the way they move is different. I just say, like, the one thing I will say to people is, whatever your decision is on how you want to move, just make sure tomorrow you're okay with it. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Because you don't want to be tormented by demons later on thinking, I did that because everyone around me was doing it, and then now you regret it. That's not the one. Do you know what I mean? Just do you and be true to self. Because if you wanted to be out there in the streets, Cool. You do that. Be out there. Men cannot live on bread alone. But like,
I'm
if
done. Man cannot live with bread
if
alone.
the chest, if you wanna just be, chilling at home and that's you, and you want to be celibate, you want to do that way, great, do that as well. My thing is just make sure that at the end of the day you can look yourself in the mirror, because that's actually the most important part of all of this. Because at the end of the day, whether you're celibate or not celibate, if, for example, you're celibate, but you're finding that you're addicted to something else, or now
Exactly.
it's pushing you to another place. Like some people, like, to replace that, they now addicted to porn or whatever it is, then that's not exactly helping in any way, form, or shape. It's like you're just replacing one for another, right? So
Yeah.
it's like, my thing is like, just make sure that you're doing it out of with good intent. Obviously you're probably doing it with good intentions, but you're also doing it in such a way where it's not leading you somewhere else, or
Yeah.
leading you to feel a certain type of way. Because some people do anything you do in life, it has a consequence. So you have to be prepared for the consequence of all your actions. So whether it being celibate, or overly, or just being sexually active, if you're sexually active, then obviously you gotta take the right procedures and the precautions, really. And obviously getting checked up frequently, obviously using protection, not just being here anyhow. You know what I mean? You can't just, I always joke about people, is like, yo, would you put your favorite trainers through mud?
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean? Do you, like, when you're wearing your favorite crepes, when you're stepping on the roads, you'll be watching everywhere, innit? Like, if you're wearing all white trainers, like your favorite pair of all white trainers, you ain't just stepping anyhow and just stepping in puddles. You take caution.
Exactly.
So that would be my thing, if you're doing that. But do you know what else? I've got one last question for you though, yeah? If you had any advice to younger you, yeah, whether or not you were outside or not, what would it be, when it comes to being active in terms of relationships and that? What would you tell yourself, younger you?
That's a good question. I'd say stay focused. Don't touch women for years. Yeah, stay focused. Don't touch women. Leave them alone. Leave them focus on what you need to do. Because yeah, I just say that, to be honest.
Mm.
Stay focused. Don't get distracted. Don't get distracted by bunda, by nyash. Yeah.
Bundesliga.
Bundesliga.
Nah.
So, what about you?
Do you know what I'd say is like, just make sure your heart's always in the right place.
Yeah.
Because, like, the one thing I know as a young boy, sometimes you get lost in it. Like, you're not even doing it because, like you said about the bunda and stuff like that, it's really a distraction.
Yeah.
And it's not actually that you have the person's best interest at heart at that point. So just make sure your heart's in the right place, because whatever you do at the end of the day, like I said, will have a positive or a good effect on a person. You can leave someone pretty traumatized. Not like, no, I'm not talking about physically hurting someone or anything like that. I'm talking about just you having fun, or what seems to be fun for you could be causing someone some trauma.
Exactly.
So you just playing around with their heart and playing football with their heart and that, you don't realize that, this person is going to, at some point, you have traumatized this person. So just be aware that when you're dealing with people, your behavior towards them, whether it's caring, loving, whatever, that's gonna have a long-term impact. It's better if you're coming from a loving place, because most of the times I say the actions will show that.
Yeah.
And then that will help that person build rather than destroy. And on the flip side as well, like I said, is like, just make sure you're looking out for yourself as well, because sometimes in relationships you can get lost in it all. Like, you get lost in it all, and then you're invested in this thing, forgetting that at the end of the day, if this ends or this is unsuccessful,
Yeah.
your life carries on. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Someone being a part of your life is a privilege for them, and it's a privilege on your side. So both of you are privileged to be in each other's lives. So just make sure that you don't take that person for granted. And if they're taking you for granted, man, seriously, man, just leg it. Don't waste your time. There's no point. So those are the kind of pieces of advice I give myself when I was younger, because I was a bit more hard-headed back then.
Also, what else do I do? What else I say? Yeah, definitely head your head's in the right place. I'd say to myself, if I'm chatting to girls, don't flirt with them. Don't just flirt with them. Have what if you're chatting to girls, have a purpose. Don't just do pen pal. So I used to like doing pen pals. I just used to like having someone to chat to on the phone. It's not good, you know. It's not good. But now
But you know what?
What?
But you know what? On that point, though, do you think that was just us as young boys trying to get intimacy? Like, as in,
I think it kind of was, but then again, it's kind of like, oh, we always want someone to chat to this. We go from one text to the other and having all these other bits and we're doing admin and all responding to different texts and all that stuff. It was kind of it was probably kind of like seeking intimacy, like from one person. Like, say if one person doesn't work, or that person's filtered out, next person, next chat, or it's just always that knowing that someone is always there kind of thing. Just being or even bored kind of thing. And I think that's one of the reasons why we are always on our phones and always check in. It's either like sometimes we even go on our phone and we don't even have messages, but we're checking the messages. You know, we're opening, and then you have people who are being left on read or seen, and they're complaining about it. You know, it's probably from back then because we built up that habit of always checking our phones, of always like texting and pillow talking with people. And now we're always on our phones and we're hooked. But 100%, I'll tell myself, don't do pen pal. It's just like you need to have a purpose when you're conversating with someone on the phone. Like, what is the purpose? Even if I get someone's number, like, what is the purpose of me getting your number? It's definitely not to text you the whole day. It's okay, I get your number. Where is this gonna go? Are we going to go on a date? Are we going to do something? What's the purpose of the date? Are we going to get to know each other and take this further? What's the purpose of the relationship? You know, everything needs to have a purpose or intention. Just can't be texting for no reason. I definitely tell myself that for sure. And at the same time, I'll tell myself to talk to a lot of people. Make some friends. Have some female friends. I think that's an amazing thing to have. If you can have female friends, one, you not only learn about females having a lot of female friends, you learn what they like. You learn different types of like personalities, rather than just chatting to all of them and just trying to flirt with all of them. You learn nothing. All you learn is the bad side, because at the end of the day, probably it doesn't work out. So you just make a lot of enemies from females. That's what I think. That's what I'd say anyway.
Nah, that's some solid advice. So you heard it here first. Guys, for all the men out there, Tony, the gal and Glucose said it here. He said, friend zone these girls.
Literally.
Right? Friend zone some of them, because they will help you in the long run to understand women. Yeah?
Yes.
Like that actually is an interesting one, but I know we're gonna have another further discussion about opposite sex friendships and being in a relationship whilst that's we'll have a discussion, don't worry. We'll talk about that one. But like for me, actually on that point, I think that's very relevant. Sometimes you do need to have, not even sometimes, it's important to have friendships with people as a whole, because I think if you're not building upon friendships with different people from different walks of life, so that not just about male and female, but just like people across the board, I think it opens your mind up to different things, and you're not just fixated on thing. And the other thing I've realized, I think you said something that was really like sort of clips with me, is like people are scared of being alone, you know. People are scared of their own company.
Yep.
There's a lot of people that aren't comfortable being by themselves. And that's not a good thing in a one sense, that if you can't be comfortable fully with yourself and just chilling, like I was joking about, if you can't just chill on your own for like a day or two in a week, you're gonna have some problems, because that means that you don't have the discipline to just kind of find something to do just by yourself. Like, I'm not saying being outside every day with your peoples is a bad thing either, because you've been in COVID, in it. So if you live by yourself through COVID, I think you've done enough of that, like so. But like in a sense that if you just like every day you kind of need to be outside, I think that would be like a concern for me, because it's like, at what point do you find a little bit of time for yourself? If you can balance the two, that's important. I don't know what the balance looks like. For some people, it's, you know, people want 50% of their own time, 50-50, 60-40, whatever your percentile will be. I think you just got to work out internally. But yeah, man, that definitely.
People can't hang out with themselves. I don't know why. When I tell people here that I used to go to the cinema on my own, people are like, that's weird. I'm like, no, that's not weird. I like just doing things. Sometimes I like doing things on my own, just sitting in the cinema, just, you know, watching people, eating my popcorn, watching the film, and watching people as well. It's nice. Spend time alone, spend time with yourself. Take yourself out on a date. You know what I'm saying? And this is why people, and you know this thing about people like saying, oh, it's me versus me versus me. All right, cool. I get that. I understand the thought process between that. But sometimes you should, like, why are you fighting yourself? You know, make peace with yourself. Make peace with yourself and be like, trust yourself. Because if you don't trust yourself, what's the opposite of trusting yourself? Is doubting yourself, right? No, so you got to trust yourself. Trust everything that you do. Trust everything that's in your mind. Try to work with yourself to progress. Align with yourself. Yeah, I just wanted to talk about that.
Nah, definitely. The alignments are important. But with that being said, yeah, guys, this has been a wonderful topic. Tell us what you think, man, about celibacy, about the advice you'd give yourself in and around relationships and celibacy. And what would you tell yourself, the younger version of yourself? This has been myself and Tony, and we'll catch you next time around.